anyone who's been on long rides has probably experienced some sort of pain or discomfort. And aside from the really obvious pain in your legs, it might be neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, maybe even uncomfortable stuff like saddle sores.
Yeah, we've dealt with a few possible solutions to common ailments like that in previous videos here on GCN. But one thing that we are yet to discuss is how to deal with numbness or pain in your hands and or wrists, which is something that a lot of you have written into us about very recently.
Should probably make a video about it then, shouldn't we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's.
One of the first things that you should try doing is simply relaxing a little bit more on the bike. Often the problems that we get in terms of numbness and pain in our upper bodies are to do with too much tension in that upper body where you're gripping the bars too tightly. And this is something that's particularly common amongst new riders to the sport who might be a little less confident riding their bikes out on the open roads. Now there really is no need to have a vice-like grip on the bars. So consciously try to relax your hands and wiggle your fingers every now and again just to remind yourself not to grip the bars too tightly.
Another thing you can try is to experiment with your hand position on your bike. On a road bike, you've got three main positions. On the drops down here, on the hoods here, where you can easily access your brakes and your shifters, and if you're climbing slowly, you can try sitting up here on the tops. Just varying your hand position throughout a ride will keep the blood flowing and avoid anything nasty like compressed nerves.
Now, along with trying to relax your wrists and your hands, you can also try to take some of the weight off the arms themselves. And one way to do this is to recruit your core. And this is something you can practice on the home trainer, keeping this position on the bike whilst removing your hands from the bars. That way you're going to recruit more of your core muscles and your arms, hands and wrists are going to be bearing less weight.
Another thing you can experiment with is your arm position. So don't ride along with locked out, dead straight arms. Go for a slight bend, which will allow you to absorb any bumps or shocks from the road surface. That said, there's no need to go full Chris Froome, and a slight bend will suffice. So that's what you can do with your body, but what about your bike and equipment? As with any pain and numbness, it's really worth looking at this too.
Yeah, so you want to try and remove as much of the road vibration and knocks and bumps that you receive through your bike as possible. So one thing that you could try perhaps is double wrapping your bar tape to give some extra cushioning. Something we have explained how to do on GCN in a separate video. We'll link to that in the description just below this one. You could try experimenting with gloves with plenty of padding, but our favourite thing to do from this point of view is to replace your tyres with some much bigger ones.
Definitely. Upgrading to 28C tyres, or even wider if your frame can accommodate it, is pretty much the best way to reduce road vibration reaching your hands and body. And that's because you have a fatter tyre that you can run at lower pressure without increasing your risk of puncturing, and it'll absorb all of the contact, all of the bumps from the road without passing them on. And when you think about it, there is a reason that professional cyclists use 28C or wider tyres at Paris-Roubaix, and that's to soak up the bumps from some of the harshest road conditions that they will ever face.
Yeah, it does make it far less uncomfortable. One final thing that you could try is to go and get a bike fit from a professional, although that's not necessarily guaranteed to work. Although this actually is something you can experiment with yourself, particularly with the help maybe of a more experienced rider. So you should look at things like the height of your bars and maybe the angle of the shifters, etc. as well. If they're too low, it might be you've just got too much weight going through your hands and wrists. So if that's the case, you could try just raising your bars slightly. Also look at your saddle height and angle as well. If it's too high or tilted downwards, it will tend to shift your body weight further forwards on the bike, again putting more weight through your arms, wrists and hands. So if that's the case, make sure it's level. Maybe try putting it down slightly and further back so that more weight is being supported by your bum.
Hopefully trying one or a combination of our tips will help you to solve any hand or wrist pain and numbness issues that you've had on the bike. But if you've solved those issues a different way, do let us know in the comments because we'd love to hear your experiences.
Yes, we would indeed. At the start of this video, however, we mentioned a couple of previous videos that we've done which deal with different types of ailments on the bike. So if you click in the top corner up there, we've got our video on how to deal with numbness or pain around the shoulders and neck. And in the bottom corner, we've got how to deal with saddle discomfort or numbness.
And if you click on the globe, you can subscribe to GCN. It's free.